Hi, this is Lorenzo.
And this is Natalia. Welcome to the podcast Canadian Citizenship by North York Community House.
This is the space where our volunteers will read articles about some of the topics you may encounter on the test.
Welcome, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Natalia. How are you?
I am fine. So, are you ready for the next topic?
Yes. Tell us.
So, in this episode, we are going to talk about the Underground Railroad.
And more specifically, about a secret network that existed in the late 1700s.
Okay, let's listen to our volunteer for today's episode.
Hello, everyone. I'm Linda, and I am a volunteer at North York Community House. Today, we're going to read something about the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad. Here's the question. Is the Underground Railroad a railroad or something else? Did you know that the Underground Railroad has nothing to do with underground or with a railroad? It was a secret organization created in the early 19th century by abolitionists. This organization consisted of Christians, indigenous peoples, and the former slaves who helped African Americans to escape from enslavement to the free northern states or to Canada. The journey to freedom was not an easy one. Freedom seekers traveled for hundreds of miles, sometimes by train, on water, and by foot, with little food. They often traveled at night, hiding in swamps and woods during the day to avoid being caught. These freedom seekers were not allowed to go to school, so they were able to develop an elaborate code of communication that included messages and instructions from spiritual songs and secret passwords and signals to guide over 30,000 people to safety in Canada. Most of these terms were based on railroad metaphors. For example, guides were conductors and hiding places were stations. Ticket agents coordinated safe trips and made travel arrangements by helping freedom seekers to get in touch with the conductors. In 1846, former slave John Freeman Walls and his white wife left North Carolina and arrived in Canada, where they raised a family and built a cabin. This cabin became one of Canada's famous stations in the Underground Railroad. You can visit John Freeman Walls' Underground Railroad Museum in Essex, Ontario. Another freedom seeker was Josiah Henson, who inspired the character Uncle Tom in Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and his famous cabin was inspired by a real home in Ontario. Henson escaped to Canada from Kentucky in 1830. He helped other fugitives to settle at his new Dawn settlement. There is an Uncle Tom's Cabin historic site in Dresden, Ontario. The first African Canadian settlers faced a lot of prejudice and racism. For example, it was difficult for them to find a job, and they were not allowed to live where they wanted to live. African Canadian children were often not allowed to attend the same schools as European Canadians. Parents had to send their children to segregated schools that existed in some parts in Ontario and Nova Scotia. During the 19th century, many African Canadians fought against the prejudice they faced. How? They founded their own schools and fought for the right of equal access to education. They also struggled to win the right to live where they wanted to live and obtain good jobs and education. African Canadians continued to fight for their rights during the 20th century. African Canadians contributed to the socio-economic growth of the communities in which they lived. Freedom, security, and human rights were the elements they fought for, and they strived to make a better life for themselves, their descendants, and their fellow citizens. They left behind an enormous legacy that you can see until today. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Good luck on your test, and I hope this was interesting.
The first time that I read these words, Underground Railroad, I thought it was an actual railroad.
Good to know something new, yes?
I know.
Okay, so let's take a look at some words that we heard today.
Okay, so let's start with the first word is abolitionist. Natalia, do you know what abolitionist means?
Now I know, but yes, it's a tough word. Can you help
Yeah,
us
I
to
know.
understand?
Yes, so basically is a person who supports the abolition, so the act of ending an activity or a custom officially. So for example, so this is an example. In 1793, Upper Canada became the first province in the British Empire to move toward abolition of slavery.
Okay, good. So then we have another word, enslavement. It's also a noun. Enslavement is the act or process that make someone into a slave or the state of being a slave. So actually the enslavement has the same roots with the words slaves. Yes. So, and in study guide, we find out that Mary Ann Shadd Cary was a publisher that helped to stop the enslavement.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for mentioning that enslavement comes from slave, the root. Yeah.
It's easy to understand the word.
Correct. Okay, our next word is elaborate. So an elaborate code of communication. So elaborate, here it's an adjective, and you use this word to describe something that is very complex because it has a lot of different parts, a lot of details. So for example, we can say the preparation for the film festival were elaborate. So detail, lots of planning.
Can we say the synonym is complicated?
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, detail, like it has a different like parts. Yes, you can say that. Yeah.
Okay. So, and about the next word, prejudice. So, by the way, Lorenza, did you have a chance to read or watch a movie, Pride and Prejudice, by Jane Austen?
Unfortunately, I have not. I heard about it, but I have not. Have you?
Yes, I do. I really love this movie. So, but actually, let's stop at the meaning of this word, prejudice. So, this is unfair or unreasonable opinion or feeling. For example, laws against racial prejudice must be strictly enforced.
Okay, thank you, Natalia. And our next word is segregated. So in the listening, in the recording, we heard segregated schools. So segregate means to keep separate or to treat someone differently according to race, sex, religion, and so on. For example, segregated schools exist in some parts in Ontario and Nova Scotia. So segregation, so segregated. Yeah.
Let's hope it stayed forever in the past.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So the next word is the verb strive. Strive means to try very hard to do something or to make something happen, especially for a long time or against difficulties. To strive. For example, in our company, we always strive for excellence.
This is a nice verb. I think everybody should strive for excellence.
Good to take this word to your regular use. Yes.
Yes, definitely. And our last word is descendant. So descendant is a person who is related to you and who lives after you. For example, your child or your grandchild. And for example, you might hear the sentence, I think my descendants are originally from Ireland. And I think this word, all these words, but I think there is one sentence from the study guide here, correct, Natalia?
Yes. For example, we spoke about the Acadians, and we find out that Acadians are the descendants of French colonists.
Okay, so yeah, the person who are related to them. Okay, so, and that's all for today. Thank you, Natalia, and
Yes.
for the explanation.
And thank you for being with me to help with this explanation.
As always, we will see each other next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye.
This is the end of our episode.
Make sure to check out our Facebook page, Citizenship Test Preparation North York Community House, where you can find more information about our free preparation courses.
You can also visit our website, nych.ca, nych.ca, where you will find all the information and updates about our programs.
You can also find us on Instagram @NicheOnline, LinkedIn, and Twitter.